Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into something really profound, the world of the empath, but we're going to look at it through the lens of Carl Jung's incredible work. We'll explore that whole journey from absorbing everyone else's pain to finally reclaiming your own power. So let's just start with this powerful idea, because it's the key to everything. The real turning point for an empath, it isn't some loud, dramatic fight. It's a silent internal shift. A quiet decision that changes absolutely everything. Now, to really get what that shift is all about, we first have to understand the empath's burden. And look, this is so much more than just being a kind person. It's a weight that shapes their entire experience of the world. See, empaths aren't just sympathetic. You can think of them as emotional receivers. They don't just feel for you, they literally feel with you. They're carrying the weight of other people's moods, their fears, all those unspoken wounds, and a lot of the time, it's at a huge cost to themselves. Over time, being in that constant state of absorption, well, the lines get really blurry. The empath starts to confuse their own endurance with love, sacrifice with loyalty. They can even start to see self-abandonment as a form of high compassion. It's a dangerous mix-up. The great psychologist Carl Jung, he had a name for this. He called it a state of psychological compensation. Basically, a profound imbalance. The empath's giving, feeling side is just in total overdrive, while their own needs, their own limits, get pushed down and suppressed. But here's the thing about suppressed stuff. It doesn't just go away. It waits. And that suppression, it can't last forever. The psyche always has a breaking point. But as Jung saw it, this isn't a collapse, it's a complete transformation. Jung had this fantastic term for this phenomenon, enantiodromia. It basically means the tendency of things to flip into their opposite. And for the empath who has given every last drop of themselves, this change isn't gradual. It's a sudden, instantaneous flip of a switch. And think about it, right up until that very last second, they're often still trying. They're still explaining, still giving, still hoping they can just fix the whole situation or finally make the other person understand. But then, that invisible threshold gets crossed. The internal math is finally done. And suddenly, they're just done. Not with some big explosion of anger or drama, but with this quiet, unshakable, almost peaceful clarity. The internal debate has finally ended. So what happens after this flip? Well, this isn't just about being tired. We're talking about a fundamental and permanent rewiring of the self. You know, there's a really crucial distinction to make right here. Exhaustion is temporary. It just wants rest and to recover. But the detachment that comes after the flip, that's entirely different. It doesn't want rest. It wants freedom. Jung believed this incredible transformation comes from finally integrating the shadow, all those parts of our personality we were taught to suppress. For the empath, this is the part that knows how to say no. It's the part that recognizes danger and absolutely refuses to be exploited. And this right here illustrates a key point perfectly. This journey is not about becoming a harsh or uncaring person. It's about becoming a whole one, finally bringing in the parts of yourself that are necessary for survival and for self-respect. So, let's take a look at how this newfound wholeness just completely short-circuits all those old dynamics that used to drain them dry. You see, the old dynamics, they relied on three things. The manipulator having constant access to the empath's energy, the empath's vulnerability to guilt, and their endless hope that things could somehow change. But once the empath reaches this state of clarity, what Jung might have called a kind of psychological immunity, those tools just become useless. Guilt doesn't stick anymore. Promises of change just sound hollow. Even that intense love bombing starts to feel totally transparent and strategic. And here's the crucial thing. Their most powerful move isn't some big confrontation. It's not about getting revenge or having the last word. No, it is the quiet, final removal of their attention and their energy. That's where all the power is. This withdrawal, it marks the final stage of the whole journey, achieving what Jung called individuation, or a state of true, sovereign wholeness. Individuation is really just that moment you stop needing other people to define you. Your identity is no longer hanging on being needed or being chosen or being approved of. Your sense of worth finally comes from within. They don't become empty or cold. They simply become unavailable. Unavailable to the old games, unavailable to the emotional debt, and completely unavailable to any relationship that requires them to erase parts of themselves just to be in it.
Their well-being is no longer up for negotiation.
And this really is the ultimate goal of the journey. It's not about trying to achieve some constant state of happiness, because that's fleeting. It's about building an integrated, resilient state of wholeness that can actually handle all of life's complexities. This whole process leaves us with a really provocative thought, doesn't it? It completely reframes empathy, not as some limitless resource to be drained by everybody else, but as a profound gift, a power that has to be protected by boundaries in order to be sustained. The journey reveals that empathy was never, ever the problem. The weakness was the lack of boundaries. The moment the empath reclaims that gift for themselves, protecting it with wisdom and with self-respect, that is the moment they become truly and unshakably free.